Greetings from the channel again. Phoenix Recap. Now I'm going to explain a Korean fantasy drama film Wonderful Nightmare. In the movie, Wonderful Nightmare, released in the year 2015, at the start of the movie, a girl named Yeon-woo narrates her disaster story. She reveals that her father died when she was an infant. Her mother died shortly after, as she couldn't bear the loss of her husband. This left Yeon-woo all alone, but she made a promise to herself that she would never depend on anyone and would become a successful person. In the next scene, the story moves to the present, where Yeon-woo has managed to deliver on her promise and become a successful lawyer. She earns 6 figures annually and has the confidence to take on any critical case. One day, she's approached by the chairman of a wealthy company. According to YSB Group, the man's son recently assaulted a girl and now wants Yeon-woo to defend him despite knowing the boy is guilty. Yeon-woo takes the case because she is promised a large sum of money during the trial. She threatens to defame the victim's daughter if the parents do not drop the case. Hearing this, the parents become terrified, and they eventually drop the case after realizing they don't have the funds to continue it. Despite being impressed with her work, the chairman assigns Yeon-woo another task. He asks her to clear the slums from a nearby area so that he can build some commercial apartments in that area, and before Yeon-woo can reply, he offers her a luxurious BMW and a VIP platinum card. Immediately, she accepted the job. Later, Yeon-woo arrives at her lavish apartment, where she lives alone. After a while, we can see that she's made a fortune from her work. She takes her new car and heads to the place where she has preserved her parents' memories. On her way back, while she is driving at a high speed, a cat suddenly appears in front of her car. She swerves her car dangerously, and as a result, it hits the roadside railings. In the next scene, when Yeon-woo wakes up, she finds herself in heaven, confused. She immediately heads to the receptionist and shows her birth certificate. Checking the records, the receptionist finds out that there's been a mistake. It turns out that Yeon-woo was scheduled to die in 2054. She reports the mistake to the director of heaven, Mr. Kim, and the latter apologizes to Yeon-woo for their mistake. He then offers Yeon-woo the opportunity to live the life of a housewife named Kong until he rectifies the record. Yeon-woo immediately disagrees to live as a housewife, but when the director claims that it's the only way for her to return to Earth, she reluctantly agrees to follow this. Yeon-woo wakes up in a strange apartment which seems to belong to a middle-class family. She quickly gets up, looks in the mirror, and starts screaming after seeing her appearance. Hearing her screams, her husband Sung-won arrives, but she starts screaming even louder. After a while, Yeon-woo schemes through some pictures of her wedding with someone and realizes that she's there to replace Kong with her. Dismayed, she also learns that the couple has 2 children, a teenage daughter, Ha-nul, and a younger brother, Haru. Just then, the little boy approaches Yeon-woo and requests that she take him to the bus station so he can go to school. Although hesitant, Yeon-woo obliges and takes her son to the bus station, leaving him there. She proceeds to return home, but just then, some of King's friends approach her. They forcefully take her to a part-time job, but Yeon-woo has no idea how to work there. It is revealed that Yeon-woo's current family is suffering financially. Later, the ladies head to a restaurant and start conversing there. They remind Yeon-woo about how she married to Sung-won at the age of 18. This shocks Yeon-woo and she starts feeling uneasy. She immediately heads to the bathroom and encounters Mr. Kim, who warns her not to change King's life instead. He suggests she adjust to her life as quickly as possible. Fed up with everything around her, Yeon-woo decides to live her life in a lavish way and heads to the supermarket there. She collects some expensive food items, but when she proceeds to pay, the card hits its limit. At night, Seung-won approaches Yeon-woo and tries to make love with her. However, the latter becomes enraged and starts accusing him of marrying an underage girl, and forcing her to have children. Here she starts talking like a lawyer, and this stuns Sung-won. After the outburst, she decides to sleep alone and heads to the living room. The following day, Yeon-woo reaches her old apartment and retrieves the VIP card that was gifted to her by the HK Group chairman. She then heads to a fancy clothing store and buys expensive clothes for herself. When it's time for the payment, King's name appears on the card instead of hers, and even the signatures don't match. As a result, the cashier starts doubting Yeon-woo as an imposter, but despite this, she left her to go. In the next scene, Sung-won returns home from work and approaches Yeon-woo. At first, he confesses that it was his mistake for marrying an underage girl, but then angrily reveals that it was Yeon-woo who forced him to do it. So he then enters the bedroom and gets shocked to see the expensive clothes bought by Yeon-woo, enraged. He tries confronting her about it, but then some police officers arrive and take her away at the police station. The officers accuse Yeon-woo of stealing the VIP card, but her husband stands up for her and starts explaining various sections of the law like a lawyer. It turns out that Seung-won went to the same school as Yeon-woo, but due to financial problems, he had to drop out in the middle. Seung-won then suspects that his good friend Kang might have slipped his card into his bag after finding out about his financial condition. Meanwhile, the officers are still unconvinced by the theory, but as they have no evidence, they are forced to let them go. Outside, someone asks his wife if she's having an affair, but she denies it. Surprisingly, he believes it and rubs her head before leaving. This surprised Yeon-woo, as no one had ever rubbed her head affectionately like that. Just then, Mr. Kim appears out of nowhere and chastises her for nearly ruining a perfectly happy marriage. Within 48 hours before leaving, he warns her to maintain good relations with her family, or else he will take her back. In the next scene, Seung-won asks Yeon-woo to join him at the district office party. Yeon-woo is initially hesitant, but after she remembers Mr. Kim's words, she agrees right away. Later at the party, Yeon-woo dresses elegantly, like she used to in her previous life, and seeing her, Seung-won is astounded. Soon, he introduces her to the chief district officer and the trio engages in small talk. Sensing the opportunity, Seung-won starts pitching his plan to build a barrier around the subway. But just then, his boss Choi interrupts the conversation and refuses the plan. Instead, he suggests renovating the footpath, as it would save money. At dinner, Yeon-woo supports her husband and tries to convince the district officer that a barrier wall should be built. She claims that the common people need it urgently while renovating the footpath would be redundant as it's already in good condition. This enrages Choi and he meets the couple after dinner. There, he makes fun of Seung-won for bringing his wife to defend himself. Seung-won doesn't respond to it. But when Choi calls his wife a bitch, he loses his cool and punches Choi hard in the face. Following this, the duo heads to a bar to clear their minds. Seung-won has one too many drinks and gets emotional. He mentions that he can tolerate just about anything, but not his wife being insulted. He also mentions that he will do whatever it takes to keep his family happy regardless of their financial situation. This impresses Yeon-woo and her opinion of Seung-won start changing. Later at night, the couple returns home, and Haru sleeps with Yeon-woo. While hugging her tightly, Yeon-woo also cannot resist it and hugs him back. The next morning, Ha-neul asks her mother for some pocket money, claiming that she wants it for school. Yeon-woo immediately agrees but puts one condition, that the little girl must fold all the shopping bags. Hearing this, Ha-neul gets enraged and storms out of the room. But as she needs the money, she comes back the next day with the folded bags. This convinces Yeon-woo, and she hands her daughter a good amount of pocket money. After a while, Ha-neul meets her boyfriend Kyung at his house as his parents are out. Kyung starts getting close to Ha-neul, but the latter backs off as she feels uncomfortable. Just then Ha-neul spots a hidden camera, and also finds Kyung's friend recording her. Terrified, she runs away from there, but Kyung pulls her hair and stops her. In the next scene, a devastated Ha-neul returns home early and slams the door. Yeon-woo is surprised by her daughter's unusual behavior and, when she enters the room to inspect, she's shocked to see bruises on Ha-neul's face. Worried, she pleads with her daughter about what happened and Ha-neul finally reveals everything. This leaves Yeon-woo speechless, but she still manages to console her daughter. The following day, Yeon-woo takes Ha-neul to the principal's office, where Kyung and his lawyer are also present. Yeon-woo uses all her knowledge of law and starts explaining about the punishments that Kyung will face. However, Kyung's lawyer doesn't even defend Kyung and simply asks Yeon-woo to take the compensation and dismiss the matter. As soon as Yeon-woo hears this, she heads to the bathroom and cries, reminiscing about all the corrupt cases she handled when she was a lawyer. We find out that it was Kyung's case that Yeon-woo took over at the start of the movie. Meanwhile, Ha-neul comes looking for her and suggests they dismiss the case as they don't have the finances to continue with it. However, Yeon-woo is adamant on winning the case. So she grabs her daughter's hand and heads to the principal's office. There, the cunning lawyer again tries to manipulate Yeon-woo by mentioning that Kyung will not be affected by the incident. As he will be heading abroad shortly, Yeon-woo takes out her mobile phone and reveals that she has recorded everything. She then asserts that she will take the case to court and destroy Kyung's image as well as his career. This enrages Kyung and he starts berating Yeon-woo. However, she easily tackles him to the ground and forces him to apologize. Meanwhile, Hanul is shocked and proud at the same time to see her mother fighting for her. Following this, Yeon-woo starts doing all the household chores and enjoys her time with the kids. One day, Mr. Kim suddenly appears in front of her and reveals that she's going to die in a week. Yeon-woo begs Kim not to kill the kids' mother and make them alone, but Kim tells her that he can't do anything about it. In the next scene, while Haru is returning home with his mother after school, he suddenly falls unconscious. The parents immediately rush him to a hospital. And after some tests, the doctor reveals that Haru is suffering from a hereditary disease. Yeon-woo then remembers her mother having the same symptoms and realizes that Haru inherited it from her. The following day, as a distraught Seung-won and Yeon-woo are waiting for their son's operation result, Mr. Kim suddenly arrives there and takes Yeon-woo outside. There he informs her that her death day has arrived and she will be dying in a car accident. Shortly, Mr. Kim then asks Yeon-woo to sit inside a car, but the latter replies that she wants to bid her family a final goodbye. Mr. Kim initially denies the request, but after Yeon-woo starts begging he has no choice but to agree. With time running out, Yeon-woo rushes to the hospital ward and meets Hanul. She embraces her tightly and advises her to follow her dreams. Next she enters Haru's room with teary eyes and tells him that she will be going far for some time. Hearing this, the little boy also becomes emotional and asks his mother to come back soon. Yeon-woo doesn't reply to it and simply walks out. Finally, she meets Seung-won and asks him to take good care of the children. After this, she walks out of the place and fades away. In the next scene, Yeon-woo wakes up from her long coma and rushes to the hospital where Haru was admitted. She cannot find Haru. They're not in their apartment and not on the school bus. The movie then fast forwards by a month, where Yeon-woo decides to shift from her apartment and starts packing her belongings. While she's at it, she comes across an old photo book and starts going through it. Soon, she comes across a picture of herself with her mother, and when she unfolds it, she finds her father present. Yeon-woo is taken aback as it. What's more surprising is the fact that her father looks exactly like Mr. Kim. After the revelation, Yeon-woo makes up her mind to visit New Zealand as it's the place where her father passed away. The next day as Yeon-woo is searching for her seat inside the plane, she notices Seung-won, Hanul and Haru. This makes her emotional, but she decides to not reveal about her previous life. Instead, he asks the little boy about why they're going to New Zealand and the latter replies that his mother passed away a month back. So they're going on a holiday to clear their minds. The movie ends as Yeon-woo reveals that she's going to New Zealand to meet her father. That was all from the video. I hope you liked it. Subscribe for more content. Like this and hit the like button to help us out. Also, leave a comment if you want us to recap your favorite movie. Until next, take care.